Welcome to part 2 of the Premier League preview, brought to you by sportsbet.io. Do like, comment, share and subscribe to get your latest previews for the Premier League, football across Europe, the Champions League, NFL and NBA. In part 1 we looked at the big games for the first set of games in 2025 in the Premier League. We looked at Liverpool, Man United, Spurs against Newcastle and Brighton against Arsenal. Right now, we are looking at the rest, putting up score predictions as well. And we're starting with Bournemouth at home to Everton. Get me prices on this one. Prices correct at the time of recording. Bournemouth are 1.74. Everton are 4.8. 3.8 for the tie. Bournemouth have lost 2 of the last 10. Everton have lost 3 of the last 10. So Everton are not losing as many as you think they probably are. I'm coming to you first, Paul, on this one. Bournemouth against Everton. Thoughts and score prediction, please.
They were poor last time out against Forest, but they're against a good Forest side, Everton. Defensively, we know they've been solid. We know they've been sound. Jordan Pickford and Branthwaite's been a big part of that since Branthwaite's come back in. Partnership that he's got with Tarkowski. Again, in a similar way to Brighton, they've drawn too many games, but you look at the points that they've got. I mean, the 3 results that they haven't won in the last 4 with only 1 defeat. But I mean, one was a 1-1 draw away at Man City, which is always a decent result for Everton. One was a 0-0 draw at home to Chelsea, and the other was a 0-0 draw away at Arsenal. So again, in isolation, those results are good results. That, like we said about season-defining games, they're not season-defining games for a team like Everton. These are the games that are against the likes of Bournemouth that they're going to want to pick up the points. But actually, other than the Forest game of late, they've been in good form. They just struggle to score goals. Defensively, they're a solid unit. I saw at Man City going forward. Listen, in Ndiaye, they've got a real player. I said this to you before. You're a Sheffield United fan. You know what a player he is. He's a real good quality player. And even if Everton do stay up, I wouldn't be surprised if he went on to bigger and better at the end of this season. He's always good for a goal or an assist. His finish at City was incredible.
I wholeheartedly agree. There is a stat here, by the way, which is quite telling for Bournemouth. Bournemouth have scored 13 goals in the last 5 Premier League away games. They have scored 5 in the last 5 home games. They score far more on their travels, Bournemouth, than they do at home. Paul, give me a score prediction for Bournemouth-Everton, please.
1 apiece. Not a great game. 1 apiece.
Yeah, I think this has got a draw written all over it. Does Mel's agree? What's your thought? Score prediction, please.
No, Bournemouth are better than Everton. 5 points from 9 over the festive period. Everton 2. Yeah, a couple of decent draws in there. Back to reality against Forest, and it'll be similar against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are decent. Yes, they have been better on the road, scoring goals. Great record at home to Everton. The venue of my stag do, Bournemouth. And Everton don't enjoy visiting there. I loved visiting there. It was brilliant. 7 visits they've been down there and never won in the Premier League. So I am all... the stag do was cracking. I am all over a Bournemouth win. I've got 2-1, Gav, to the home side here.
Stay tuned for part 3 for Neil Mellor's guide to Bournemouth and a night out.
I haven't got stats aplenty. I can't match that stat. That is the stat of the day. I didn't know that. I'm glad you remember it as well. I will tell you now as well, if you want to start, I don't think, and I've checked this, I don't think Everton have ever won a league game at Bournemouth. They've won there in the Cup, but I don't think they've ever won a league game at Bournemouth. There we are. Right, moving on to the second game of part 2 of the Premier League preview, brought to you by sportsbet.io. We're talking Aston Villa at home to Leicester, a Midlands derby. 1.31 for Villa, Leicester at 10, 5.5 for the tie. I was just thinking that Man United are a bigger price to win at Liverpool than Leicester are to win at Villa. Villa have won 3 of the last 15 Premier League games. Leicester have lost 7 of the last 9. Mel, you're going first on this one. Villa against Leicester. Thoughts and score prediction, please?
Leicester in big trouble for me. Yeah, they're in the bottom 3 now. Don't see them getting out of it. Can see them going on a worse run than they're currently on at the moment. Lost all 3 games over the festive period. Villa got, what did they get? 4 points out of 9. Villa, for me, comfortable home victory. The 9th in the table. They want to get closer to those top 4-5 places. They have to be winning these games. Watkins back on the score trail. He will get himself a couple of goals. I've got a big home win. 4-0 for the Villa.
4-0. I will tell you that for the last 6 results between these two sides, the winning side have won by 2-1. You've mentioned Watkins. Morgan Rogers has scored 3 in the last 4 home games for Villa as well. He is a player. What about you, Paul? Do you agree you're going for a comfortable Villa victory? What's your score prediction, please?
Yeah, they're bang in trouble. Leicester, bang in trouble. And when you look at it and you look down there, you want 3 worse teams than you. And Leicester are one of them teams that somebody looks at and goes, they're worse than us. They're poor. Ruud van Nistelrooy, it's looking like an interesting appointment. And he was available at the start of the season. If they wanted him then, why didn't they look at him at that point? Question, defensively, they look all over the shop. You can't see where the next win's coming from. They've had a couple of tough games, Liverpool, Man City. They did, to be fair to them, you give them credit because they played all right in the second half of the Manchester City game. There was the turning point just when Haaland scored the second goal that Leicester were coming back into that game. He's going to need more performances like that, but Villa Park's a tough place to go. And as you say, Morgan Rogers, Watkins. Is Duran back? Was he suspended for just 1 game, I think, Duran? I think he might be back. He won't be a 3-game ban, will it? I'm not sure anyway. Regardless whether who plays, whether it's him or Watkins, one of them will score. Villa will win comfortably 3-0.
You have gone for 3-0. I will tell you that Duran could face longer ban after he's been charged with improper conduct. So that's to be a question mark. That came out yesterday, so he may have a bit of a further ban. But he's gone for 3-0 for the home side. I will tell you that that matches what Leicester are doing away from home. They've conceded over 2.5 goals in each of the last 4 away games. 3 at Man United, 4 at Brentford, 4 at Newcastle and 3 at Liverpool. So when Leicester concede, they concede plenty. Next up is an all-London affair. It is Crystal Palace at home to Chelsea. 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Palace at 3.75. Chelsea 1.93. They've had a blip. 3.85 for the tie after winning 4 games in a row. Crystal Palace and scoring 16 goals in those 4 wins. Palace have won just 2 of the last 10 at home, and after taking 15 points from 15, Chelsea have taken 1 from their last 9. Could be quite a difficult one to call, this one. I'm coming to you first, Paul. Palace-Chelsea.
So Chelsea in the week at Ipswich. I thought the manager changed the team up. He said before it was going to rotate it. Changed the goalkeeper, dropped Robert Sanchez, and Cuckoo played. Jackson was on the bench because he was 1 yellow card away from being suspended. So they're all wiped now. They go into the new year. All the yellow cards are wiped. So Chelsea, in Fernandes and Caicedo, 2 players who can run a game. But like I said to you there in the earlier preview about Enzo Maresca, what's his managerial style? What demands is he putting on his team? The drop-off that Leicester had at the turn of the year last year, is it going to be the same with Chelsea? Ipswich outfought them, outbattled them. They didn't win any of these stat categories. Chelsea won everything: passes completed, possession, etc., chances. But they just weren't clinical in the final third. Going to be a tough one going to Sellers Park. I'm going to this game on Saturday. This is the game that I'm covering. Looking forward to it. I think Palace will be a tough nut for Chelsea to crack at home. I think it'll be tight. 1-1.
1-1, which is, I think, actually what these teams did last time out at Stamford Bridge, which stopped I think of the head-to-head records between sides, it did finish 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. That stopped a run of 14 consecutive victories for Chelsea against Crystal Palace. Palace last beat Chelsea all the way back in 2017. They pretty much lose every single time against Chelsea, do Crystal Palace. But you've gone for the tie in this one. What about you, Mels? What's you thinking? Crystal Palace-Chelsea score prediction, please.
Yeah, Palace had an all right festive period. 4 points out of the 9. Poor from Chelsea, wasn't it? Only the 1 point. People were talking about them being in a title race. They've dropped off. I do think Chelsea, and I've called it all along, will be better this season. Palmer's some player. Palmer's at the bar, the post against Ipswich. Another day that goes in, they may get something from the game. I think Chelsea will just have enough. Yeah, I think it'll be tough. Palace will make it difficult for them, but Chelsea will have just enough. That 2017 win, Zaha got the winner for Palace that day. Is Eze the sort of player that maybe could get the winner? Got himself a goal the other day? Maybe. But I think Chelsea will be just too strong with Palmer in the team. 2-1 away win.
2-1. They did win Crystal Palace by 3-1 last time out. After scoring 11 goals in 3 away games, Chelsea have not scored in their last 2 away. So you have gone split opinion. You've gone for tie in this one and an away win for Chelsea. Next up is Man City against West Ham. Also a 3 p.m. kickoff. Man City 1.33. West Ham are 7. 6.6 for the tie. Man City won at Leicester last time out. They have not won back-to-back Premier League games since October. Which is a sign of what Man City have been doing. West Ham have conceded 12 goals in 4 home games. They've conceded 5 in 4 away games. So West Ham are far more open at the back at home than they are on their travels. Who did I go to first last time? I went to Paul last time. Mel's, your thoughts, score prediction, Man City, West Ham, please.
Yeah. I mean, good time to play Leicester for City last time out. Good time to play West Ham. Struggling. Really poor performance against Liverpool. Yes, at the post from Kudus. Paqueta missed a good chance, but even so, nowhere near it. And I expect the same. Bowen's out as well. Arguably the best player they have. So that's a massive blow for them. Just can't see anything but a City win. And they have a terrible record away at City. They haven't won there since 2015. The managers that day, who were they for City and West Ham? The last time West Ham went there and won, Moses and Sacco were the goal scorers for West Ham. Last time they beat City away, 2-1. 2015. Who was it? Just before Pep.
Yeah, so that'd be Pellegrini.
Yes.
Pellegrini and Allardyce. Sam Allardyce.
Allardyce, no. Chance for 2-0, Gav. Here we go.
West Ham manager
a little bit like Big Sam as a no-nonsense centre-half, this fella, the manager. His teams always loved a red card. If you're thinking of this team, he loved a red card, his teams. Probably West Ham had quite a few red cards when he was in charge.
It was not Pardew. It was Pardew. He wasn't there at that time, was he?
No nonsense centre half.
Slaven Bilic.
Yes.
Oh, you beat me by about 1.6 seconds. I hate you for that because I literally just went ping.
That was the last time West Ham went. Listen, I've got 3-0 for City. Comfortable home win.
Man City don't. I've got a very good record against West Ham, but again, it's the trust issue of Manchester City, and are they just finding their feet after a blip that went on far longer than people thought it would? So Man City have scored exactly 3 goals in each of the last 4 games against West Ham as well. So when they score, they tend to finish scoring at 3. So you've gone for 3-0, which suits that scoreline. What about you, Paul? What's your score prediction for Man City West Ham?
So West Ham, whoa, you lose track of days, don't you, over Christmas? It was before the Brighton game. They played Brighton at home. Without Jared Bowen, they are going to struggle. He played on the right, and then he played him in the middle, and as a 9, they look so much better with him playing down the middle of the pitch. Without him, without his effectiveness, his assists and his goals, I mean, I'm looking back at my stats for the game. He had, at the start of the Brighton game, he had 4 goals and 4 assists. That's obviously improved since then. So without him, Lopetegui's saving his job again every week, isn't he? I think the only thing that's saving his job is that the West Ham board don't like paying compensation for managers that have been sacked or new managers. This is a good time for Man City to be playing West Ham. They get the back-to-back win, 4-1 Manchester City.
Gone for 4-1 Manchester City. Both these fans are going to watch their teams at the moment. Not sure which side's going to turn up. They are both inconsistent, but you've gone for Man City against West Ham. You've both gone for the home win in that one. Next up, Southampton against Brentford, also a 3 p.m. kickoff. Southampton are 2.78. Brentford, they are 2.62, and the tie between these two is 3.3. This fixture sees the worst home form in the league against the second worst away form in the league. Good luck with this one. We are going in. First up, it's Paul for Southampton against Brentford.
Just don't see where Southampton are going to pick any more points up this year. Seeing this, they're so poor. The goals that they conceded, I watched them a while ago at Wolves, and they were struggling to score goals. That's continued, struggling to score goals, and they're one of the worst, if not the worst, defence in the league. It's not a good combination. Brentford started well last night against Arsenal, got the goal in Buemo. I think they'll go to Southampton. I think they'll do a job on them. If it's only just for the organisation, the set plays and the way that they play, they'll impose themselves on Southampton. I think Brentford go there and they win 2-0.
Gone for 2-0 win. I will tell you that Brentford have won their last 4 games at Southampton, scored 11, conceding just 1. Southampton fans. As a Sheffield United fan, I sympathise. I know what it's like to struggle in red and white at the bottom of the Premier League, but they are on course to be the worst ever Premier League side. No team has had fewer points at this stage of the season. That does include the infamous Derby side. Visser, by the way, has 3 in 4 against Southampton. 2-0 away win for Brentford. What about you, Mels?
Yeah. I mean, Southampton down, aren't they? Feel sorry for the fans after what they had to deal with at the start of the season. That was the reason why they're in this trouble. They've been more competitive under the new manager. Draw against Fulham, narrowly got beat to West Ham, narrowly got beat to Palace. But again, I think they'll narrowly get beat to Brentford. So I'm on an away win for this one as well. 2-1 for Brentford.
2-1. I do have a bizarre stat for Brentford. I mean, this stat is nowhere near as good as knowing where your stag do was in Brighton. But Brentford... Bournemouth. Should have gone to Brighton better. Brentford have scored... Why Bournemouth, by the way? Can I just ask why Bournemouth?
I'll tell you why, because I said to the lads, I want a random place, somewhere I've never been, somewhere that no one goes, on the train. It was brilliant. What a day. Played cricket on the beach and then we cracked on.
Brilliant. Brentford have scored in 6 of the last 8 away games. In all 6 games that they have scored, they have lost them all. The only games they've not lost away from home are the 2 games they've not scored, which is a very bizarre record for Brentford. Right, let's move on to Fulham against Ipswich. This is a 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. 1.58 for Fulham. Ipswich, they are 5.6, 4.3 for the tie. Fulham have lost 1 of the last 11 Premier League games, but have drawn 4 of the last 5. And Ipswich beat Chelsea last time at home. They have not won back-to-back games in the Premier League since 2002. And one of those games was against Fulham. Right, let's go to Mel's first thoughts and score prediction on Fulham against Ipswich.
Yeah, giving themselves a chance, Ipswich. I think they're the best out of the 3 promoted teams. To give themselves a chance, what a result to beat Chelsea. I just think Ipswich will not be able to back that up, certainly away from home. Like Fulham, they'll be disappointed not to have beaten Bournemouth last time out, and I think they will want to react and get a home win. And I've got a home win for them. Yeah, I do like Fulham, what they're about. So I've got a 3-1 home win for Fulham.
3-1 home win for Fulham. Fulham have conceded in 14 of the last 15 home games. And I know that you, Robbo, you were at Ipswich home win against Chelsea. You're a good luck charm for the home side. They're not won at home all season. Robbo turns up and it's 3 points for Ipswich. Liam Delap scored that day. He also scored in the 1-1 draw at home to Fulham. When Liam Delap is on it, he is a little bit of a tour de force up front. Only 21, but he's a real handful, isn't he, Liam Delap?
Yeah, enjoyed watching him. Enjoyed seeing him in the flesh. Works extremely hard. Bit of an old-fashioned striker. He's a pest. He's a nuisance. He's an absolute pain to the centre halves. He never gives them a minute's rest. Fights, battles for every ball. And he's actually clever. He's quite intelligent. Gets himself in the box. Wins fouls. As you saw, won the penalty. Wins corners. Wins free kicks. Like him. He'll go on to better if Ipswich do go down.
Yeah, what I like about Liam Delap as well, because obviously sometimes if there's a low block for Ipswich, Liam Delap gets the ball and it's like, do your job with it. And he could be surrounded by 2 or 3 defenders. You know, he'll either get a corner, he'll get a free kick, he'll get a throw in. He gives the defence breathing room, and that's absolutely key for Ipswich. So if Liam Delap is on it, Ipswich could potentially get something from this game. Who knows? What's your score prediction in this one, Paul?
I think it'll be close, but I agree with Neil. I don't think they can go again, Ipswich. I saw them at the end of the game. They were dead on the feet. You could see the relief. But the way that they played against Chelsea, they suffered. They suffered well. They did it well. They put in a real shift. But if it's going to be like that every week, it's going to be a long season for them. I've got Fulham to win this one, 1-0.
Fulham to win 1-0. Last time Ipswich played at Fulham was the Championship in 2018, and they got absolutely battered by 4-1. They also ended the game with 10 players. And the final game of Matchday 20, as we say hello to 2025, is another Nuno Espirito Santo derby. We've got Wolves at home to Forest. 3.1 for Wolves. Forest are 2.4, 3.25 for the tie. Team of the season so far, with the greatest respect to Liverpool's and your Arsenal's, is Forest. After 4 straight defeats and sacking Gary O'Neill, Wolves have taken 7 points from the last 9 available, and Forest have won all of the last 5 Premier League games. They have never won 6 Premier League games straight. The last time they won 6 consecutive top-flight games was all the way back in 1979. Mel's, in fact, Paul, I'm coming to you first on this one. Wolves Forest.
I told you I like Pereira. I told you it was a good appointment, and he's turned it around immediately. There seems to be unity and a togetherness in that team. The discipline that wasn't there seems to be there. I think he's come in and he's done a fantastic job. Cunha, is he suspended for this one? Is he? Yeah. Is this one of his games that's suspended this? And I think that'll have a real effect on Wolves because he is a top player. Without him, I'd have backed Wolves to win it. With him, I'd have backed Wolves to win it. Without him, I think it's going to be a tight affair, one apiece.
The last 5 meetings between these two sides have all ended as a draw. Wolves have scored in all of their last 11 home games. Forest have not conceded in 3 Premier League games. What about you, Mels? What's your score prediction for Wolves Forest?
Yeah, I'm similar with Robbo for this. I think it will be a close game. I think Wolves have improved under the new manager, but they are flying, Forest, aren't they? Absolutely flying. 9 points from 9 over the festive period. Gone to Everton, breezed a victory there. They look good. They look really good, and I think there's a genuine chance they could maybe get a European place this year. Not Champions League, but maybe a European place. For me, without Cunha, that is a big problem for Wolves. And the same, if Cunha was playing, I think Wolves might nick this, might cause a bit of an upset, which it would be. But he's not playing, and I'm on an away win. I don't see Forest run ending at Wolves at all. So 2-1 away win for Forest.
Yeah, you kind of expect him, and you do with teams like Forest when they're right up at the top and mixing it with your Liverpools and Arsenals and Chelsea's and Newcastle. You're expecting the bubble to burst at some point in the blip. Slowly descend back towards mid-table in the Premier League, but they're not. They just suffered a couple of defeats and then pick themselves up and just go again. It is absolutely terrific. Anthony Elanga, by the way, is 3 in his last 4 for Forest. Next up for Forest is a home tie to Liverpool. Can they do the double over the Reds? You've gone for Forest to win that one, Mels. Thank you for your score predictions. Get involved as well. Do let us know what your score predictions are for these games. We will be back in a couple of weeks because we've got the FA Cup next week. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks to see how the guys have done with their score predictions. But whatever your bets are, please do gamble responsibly. And now we're going to look at the score predictions, how they fared over Christmas. So the score predictions, the rules of the game are that we will record Robbo's and Mel's score predictions, and then it is a point for getting the right result, and it's 3 points for getting the absolute bang-on correct scoreline. And they're trying to get their hands on this brilliant sportsbet.io trophy. You can tell by the nodding of Mel's that he really gets his hands on that trophy. Now, we had a couple of score predictions over Christmas because the games were coming thick and fast. I can tell you that, Neil, you did win week 18 or match day 18 and match day 19. Well, you won that one as well, 7-5. I think it was the correct score for Arsenal. You predicted them to win by 3 goals to 1, and that was what did it. So as we head into 2025, Neil now leads 9-5 in the score predictions and is taking a huge step to getting his hands on this trophy. But there's still time, Robbo, for a comeback.
Or we can just cancel it.
Or we can just cancel it. It's one of the 2 options. Next up, we're looking at the trebles. So the trebles, we're going to ask the guys for their best 3 picks of the match day, and we're going to put them in a treble, put 10 USDT on it, and whatever money we make, we will put towards charity. For match day 19, Mel's went for Chelsea, Villa and Palace. Got let down by a couple, so did not add to the 73.7 USDT he's got in the bank. Robbo's style is to go big now. Go big, land a couple during the season, the rest of the season, and he'll be landing some nice money. Went for Newcastle, Bournemouth, Southampton at 47. Sadly got let down by a couple. But Mel's, for match day 20, let's have your treble, please.
Yeah, 3 home wins for me, so could be low on. Bournemouth, Fulham, and Aston Villa are my 3.
That is a treble of 3.8 if we put 10 USDT on it. Of course, it's bang on 38. If that does land, it pushes you over to the 100 USDT gain so far. Are you ready? Strap yourselves in. Here we go for a treble from Robbo, who's going big. Your treble, please, mate.
One of my teams in my treble, I've backed to win in the score predictions. The other 2, I've backed them both to lose. But I'm putting them in a treble because who knows what's going to happen. Brighton, Manchester United and Southampton. Give me a big number.
So I think the biggest treble that you had was around 45.
This is bigger than that. I tell you now, it's bigger than that.
Oh, it's significantly bigger than that. This is 147.06 USDT. 10 USDT is on that, which means if this does land, you get 1,476 USDT, and that will be a huge chunk of money that will be going to charity. And of course, you did put up in part 1 Man United to win 2-1 at Liverpool, which itself is a price of 24. So there's some big prices coming from Robbo for the first Premier League preview of 2025. Guys, the very best of luck with your trebles. So guys, the very best of luck with your trebles. Thank you for your time, and we will be back in a couple of weeks for Matchday 21. We're having a week off because it is FA Cup round 3, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Until then, whatever your bets are, please do gamble responsibly.